Cookin. I'm your hostess, Cindy Schumacher. On today's show, we'll be making spaghetti beef casserole, Italian salad with classic creamy Italian dressing, cheesy garlic breadsticks, and ginger spice cookies. I started the ground beef on the stove here. I have 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef, and to that I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of chopped green pepper and a 1/2 cup of diced onion. And we're going to let this cook down. I'm using my handy Pampered Chef chopper, which works wonderfully to break down your beef. Now while that's cooking, we're going to go over here and we're going to start the cheesy garlic breadsticks. I'm going to whisk together 2 cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of garlic salt, a teaspoon of sugar, one and a half teaspoons of active dry yeast, combine those. Okay, I have a cup of lukewarm water that we're going to start with a little bit at a time. You're going to need anywhere from 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup of water. These are kind of almost like a pizza in some respects, but they are a nice accompaniment for a spaghetti dish. I'm going to pour it out on my counter here and start working with it. And then you can also serve like a pizza sauce for dipping if you want on the side, or use them for an hors d'oeuvre or a snack. Takes just a little bit of time. You want to get it so you don't really feel the graininess of the yeast anymore. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, then I'm going to take a plastic Tupperware bowl and put it in there, and we're going to let it rise for about a half an hour. The reason I like to use plastic is because the plastic will not get so cold, where glass would have a tendency to take on a little bit of a colder temperature. I'm going to pour a little olive oil in there. We're going to roll the ball in that and cover it and let it rise for a while. Okay, we're going to go back over here to the casserole. The beef that I'm using is so lean that there's really nothing to drain off, but if your hamburger has some grease that you want to drain off, now would be the time to do it. And I'm going to press in some garlic. If you don't have fresh garlic, you can always use the garlic in the jar. And it's calling for a half teaspoon, so that's about 1 clove. And I'm going to cook this in just for a few minutes. Just get a little bit of the dough off my hands. Now, if you want a copy of any of the recipes that we're making today, if you don't have internet, you give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to send you out a copy. If you do have internet, you just go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net. Click on the Country Cookin' Cow. You'll find all the recipes there. Okay. I'm going to stir in a can of cream of mushroom soup. And a can of tomato soup. I have a 4-ounce can of mushroom stems and pieces, and I've drained that. And then I need 2/3 cup of water. Let's see, I have a This is a really good dish, and it's easy to make. It's something you can make in advance and then bake it when you're ready, especially if you've got company coming, or it's a nice casual Sunday supper, or if you're working and come home and want to pop something in the oven. By the time you get the table set and everything, it'll be baked and ready to go. Okay, I pre-cooked 3/4 of a pound of spaghetti, I'm gonna just toss that in there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to transfer it all to this Dutch oven because I think we'll be able to mix it a little easier. And then I have shredded cheddar cheese. We're going to throw about a cup of that in there. Just stir it until you get everything mixed pretty evenly. Okay. I have a greased 9x13 pan. I've got the oven preheated at 350 and we're going to bake it for about anywhere from 25 minutes to a half an hour. The other half cup of cheese then we're just going to sprinkle over the top. Looks like that. And it's ready to go in and bake for, like I said, 25 minutes to a half an hour. We're going to take a quick break while we clean up. We'll be ready.
Blazing fast broadband internet from Valley is now available and better than ever. Let us help you decide which speed is best for you. The 50 meg speed would be sufficient for 1 to 4 devices, mainly emailing and surfing the web. Our 100 meg speed works great for 5 to 8 devices and multiple users streaming and downloading video. If you have 8 devices or more that are simultaneously streaming or gaming, or if you have a medium-sized business, the 250 meg speed would work best for you. For extreme heavy home or work from home use, or if you have a medium to large business using 15 or more devices, you may want to consider our 500 meg download speed to fit your needs. And if you're a home or business that needs it all, we have our 1000 meg, 1 gig broadband internet speed. Call our office today at 437-2615 and talk with one of our staff members to pick the speed that's best for you.
Okay, we're going to start working on the ginger spice cookies. I have 3/4 cup of butter here. To that I'm going to add a cup of sugar. The instructions say that you should beat it for about 3 minutes till it's light and fluffy. So we'll probably cut out for just a minute while we're working on this. We'll be right back. Okay, I've got the, so it's nice and fluffy. It's almost white when you get to that point. So to this, I'm going to add an egg, and then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of molasses. I'm going to do the little trick where I'm going to spray my tablespoon just so that it slides out a little easier. pretty good. Where do you want to go? Okay, I'm going to combine the dry ingredients as long as I have the mixer stopped. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. And then a half teaspoon of, I've got cinnamon here. Cinnamon is a teaspoon. Nutmeg is a half teaspoon. One and a half teaspoon of ginger. And a half teaspoon of cloves. This is almost like a ginger snap, but it's not quite as heavy as a heavy of flavor as a ginger snap is. And a half teaspoon of salt. Whisk that together. So we'll incorporate that egg and the molasses first. I'm gonna grab a spatula. Okay, now we'll start adding our dry ingredients. Okay. I think I'll take a quick break while I put some of these things away and we'll roll out the cookies. We'll be right back. Okay, we're rolling out the cookies. You can make them any size you like. I like my cookies to be kind of substantial if you're doing them for a tea or some kind of a shower or something where you're going to have multiple desserts. You can make them a little smaller, but I'm doing them about just smaller than golf ball size. I'm rolling them in a little bit of granulated sugar just like you would a ginger snap. They always say that if you want to make your house smell inviting, to use spices. So we definitely have spices in these cookies, and that's what really makes the house smell good. A little bit of a twist on these then is that we're going to put just a little bit of a powdered sugar glaze on them. Okay, as we get these going, they're baking at 350, 10 minutes, or until they're golden brown. Okay.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. Call Valley today at 437-2615.
We're going to get busy with the breadsticks. Just going to roll it out here on my counter. And I'm going to do it kind of in a square. You don't want it to be thin, as thin as a pizza crust, because it's breadsticks. You want it to be a little bit thicker. I'm kind of straightening the sides a little bit so that when I cut it, it'll be more in even sticks. Looks like that. I'm throwing it on a pizza pan. Okay, I bought a pack of the Italian style cheese, and this is a combination of mozzarella, white cheddar, provolone, and Asiago. You can just, if you want to just use mozzarella cheese, you can. This just gives it a little more flavor. I have 4 tablespoons of butter here. To that I'm going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. We're going to spread this over the top. Brush. I go right up to the edge because this isn't like a pizza. You don't need it to have a crust on the edge. So I'm going to sprinkle it with cheese. It looks like this so that you can see it. You might not need all of the 2 cups if you don't want to use it all. I'm gonna come pretty close here. Okay, then we're gonna do about a tablespoon or so of Parmesan cheese. I'm just gonna shake a little bit here. Okay, this is gonna go in the oven at 425 for about 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. You want it to just start to brown a little bit. So I'm gonna go throw it in the oven and be right back. We're going to first take out one of the sheets of cookies is done. Let's get that on the tray here, and then we're going to start throwing together the salad. I have a head of romaine that I have cleaned, and I usually stem the romaine because sometimes the rib is kind of tough and hard to eat. This is a 1/4 of a head of iceberg lettuce. It was a big head, but the thing about mixing iceberg lettuce with your romaine is that a lot of times your iceberg lettuce will be a little firmer and it'll give your salad a little more body. So we're gonna do that. We've got a 1/4 cup of, I'm using Kalamata olives. If you don't have Kalamata, they do have them, I know, at our grocery store, Ken's in Eureka. And then I have, this is celery that I have finely sliced on kind of a little bit of a diagonal. That is 1 rib. This is about a 1/2 of a small red onion that I have sliced real thin. I used my mandolin to do it. Sometimes I break the rings so that they're just a little bit easier to eat. This is 8 pepperoncinis. Now, it says to throw them in whole. If you want to divide them up a little bit, you can do that too. I'm going to quickly just kind of slice them into some pieces, just so that if you're serving more people, then everybody gets a little bit of it in their portion. Toss those in. This is a 1/2 cup of grape tomatoes. If they're big ones like this, I have some small and some big. I'm just going to slice them in half just to, there again, kind of distribute them more evenly throughout the salad. Just the big ones. The smaller, if there's smaller ones that you've been able to find, you can just throw them in whole. Okay, then we're going to sprinkle it with freshly shaved Parmesan cheese. Now, if your store doesn't carry that, they actually brought it in for me for this episode of the show. So I'm just using a potato peeler, and I'm just going to grate off some of the Parmesan cheese. You just have to let them know. Usually they need just a day, but sometimes if you're doing something, you might want to give them a couple of days notice if there's something that you need that they don't normally have. About 2 ounces. I'm going to throw a couple more in there. Check that next tray of cookies here. I always let cookies cool for about just a minute or so, and then remove them and put them on your cooling rack. Oops. Okay, let's take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Internet is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds. All on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
We're going to quick stir together the glaze for the cookies. This is 1.5 cups of sifted powdered sugar. To that I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of water and 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice. If it's too thick to be a glaze, then we're just going to add a little more water. Yeah, a little bit thick, so we're going to add a little water. You don't want there to be a big blob on there, you just want it to be a little bit of a drizzle. Just a little bit more. I'm just going to bring these over here. The salad over for now. And you just want to do just a little bit of a glaze. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a little, that. Doesn't have to be a lot because they're sweet enough as they are. It just gives it a little bit of decoration, just a little bit fancier, I guess you could say. I'm going to set this aside. We'll do the other tray in a minute, but we're going to stir together the salad dressing. So we're going to start out with a 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar here. Two tablespoons of lemon juice. A 1/3 cup of a good quality olive oil. I'm using the Classico extra virgin. Half cup of mayonnaise. I'm using Hellmann's. They say to use a good quality, and Hellmann's is my preference in all instances when I'm using mayonnaise. 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to press those in. If you don't have fresh garlic or a press, you can use the garlic in a jar, or if you use the dry garlic powder, you can substitute that. I believe it's 1/4 teaspoon for a clove. Okay, then we need 1/2 teaspoon each of basil, oregano, parsley, and thyme. Then we need 2 teaspoons of honey. Here again, I'm going to give it just a little bit of a squirt with my hand, just so that it comes out a little easier. Okay, then we've got 1/4 cup of finely grated Parmesan cheese and salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to do about 3/4 teaspoon of salt and about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Remember, you can always add, you can't take it out, so you're better off to err on the side of caution. And then you just whisk it together. If you have a salad dressing shaker or something like that, you can do that. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna clean up. We'll be right back, and we're about ready to eat.
Valley Telecommunications, we pride ourselves in providing the home team advantage. But what does that mean? It means going above and beyond to take care of our customers' needs by providing exceptional customer service, because helping you helps all of us. As a cooperative, each time you subscribe to our services, you are investing in our community, which allows all of us to build and benefit from the newest technologies. Make the switch today to Valley Telecommunications and experience the home team advantage.
Everything looks good and it smells good. If you're not going to be using the whole salad in one sitting, I always recommend that you serve the dressing on the side. So we're going to just drizzle a little bit over the top of this. And we're all set. We have our spaghetti beef casserole, our Italian, our cheesy garlic breadsticks, our creamy Italian dressing with the Italian salad, our ginger spice cookies. Now I want to remind you, if you want to, you can serve some red pizza sauce with the breadsticks. So we're all set. Thanks for joining us today on this edition of Country Cooking. We hope to see you next time.